Hey everybody, welcome to our channel. This is GlobalComix and we are here to interview the lovely Stephanie. Please feel free to intro yourself.
I'm Stephanie Williams, comic book writer, and now Eisner-nominated comic book writer, which is still so crazy to me, but so happy to be here talking to you.
Yes, we are super excited to be talking to you today. Our team reached out because we saw the Eisner nomination. I've been reading your works, our team's been reading your works, and you've also been on our platform, GlobalComix, for quite some time, starting with Living Heroes. So when we saw that there wasn't as much buzz as there should be for such a historic win, we reached out and we wanted to really talk to you.
Yeah.
So to just kick things off in general, tell me a little bit about yourself, your different works, and just any sort of fun facts you want to share with everyone.
Comic writing was not my first career. I was an electron microscopist before this. It's a lot easier to just say research scientist, but my focus was really that, just working alongside pathologists, so very science oriented. But while working that job, got pregnant, had my son, and something about that just kind of changed my whole framing of things. And I felt like I was playing it safe because science was supposed to be the stable job. Well, we know
Yeah.
that's kind of a lie now because grants can get taken at any time. So having him just really made me go back to thinking about the things that I dreamed of one day doing, which was writing. I really love reading and therefore writing as well. So I started blogging, and then from blogging, podcasting, and then from podcasting, writing articles for like Sci-Fi Wire, Fangirls, Marvel.com, a couple things for Nerdist, just always pop cultural things that I was very excited to talk about, especially comic books. So one day I was like, I'm always writing about comics and comic characters and stories that I wish existed. So how about I actually write those stories? So taking a page out of Toni Morrison's sage advice, right? There's a story that you wish existed, then you should be the one to write it.
Oh, I love that. I actually really love to hear, I don't want to say non-conventional or like non-traditional as people tend to say. We all have our own journeys.
Yeah.
But I love to hear that you're also a STEM girly because I was also a
Yes.
science guy.
Yes.
I left from pre-med and I moved into marketing. And so now I'm here talking to you because of that. What would you say though is like the comic that started all for you? Like, is there something specifically where you're like, I need to start, like I read this and now I want to start writing my own?
So funny enough, it is a Dwayne McDuffie and Mark Bright comic. It is Captain Marvel. It was an annual. So this came out in 1989. This is just shortly after she lost her powers when she was with the Avengers. You get this story of this woman who is going from, being the superhero and now back to being a regular civilian and how she's kind of adjusting to that. We get to see her interior life, which I'm always a fan of, especially in superhero comics, seeing just who these heroes are when they're not in their caves, because to me that greatly informs who they are as heroes. And I want to know the communities that you come from. So we get to see that, and we get to see Monica get her powers back. But even before then, we see just how amazing she is, how brave she is, how much of a not just a good person, but a person who is actively choosing to be good every single day with or without her powers. And then she gets them, and then it's just kind of like, well, girl, yeah, you should always have this because you know what to do with them.
I actually really love that you mentioned Dwayne McDuffie because he was the first Black writer to be nominated in the same category as you. Like you are, this is why I mentioned earlier, you just made history as the first Black woman to be nominated for this role. When you found out that this was happening, what was like your immediate reaction? Like that, this is such a huge moment.
To be honest, Brenda, like I think I'm still processing it just because I was very familiar with the history, both the complicated history of the Eisners and who Will Eisner is as or was as a comic creator, but also understanding that this is a marker, just kind of like the Oscars, right, for comics. And I knew that Dwayne was the first Black person to be nominated in the category. And then for the longest, I was gaslighting myself. I'm like, he couldn't have been the only Black writer to be nominated in this category before me. And then as I went down the line and I'm going through my head, like as I got this news, and I was like, wow, that is really insane. If anything, many emotions, but one of them definitely is kind of full circle just because Dwayne McDuffie is the comic book writer that I first read that I said, wow, like this this gives me what I get in other mediums. It reminded me, of course, of Justice League Unlimited, because he wrote that, and also Static Shock the show. And then everything that I've written of his is inspired me in a way, like, you can, if you want to tell comic stories, and let's say you want to do superhero comics, like, there is no one way set to way to do this. And here is a writer who is showing you that way, that it's okay to show empathy for these characters, and again, to really get into their interior lives and dig into why they are the way that they are. And I don't know, for me, superhero comics in general, I've been always soap opery, so that was just like, it all just came together.
I love that, and I love that you even just mentioned Static Shock because I grew up watching it, like,
Yes.
like, it's just yeah, I love that that was a full circle moment for you, in general, and then even just, as you start to look to the future generations of other comic writers who look just like you, or for other people in general who are looking to move this industry, I'm sure that was just a huge moment, and
Yeah.
so you have been candid about the lack of coverage around this, your nominations, and so what has it been like building a career and also just making history in a space that doesn't necessarily always celebrate, creators that look like you?
It's funny, and maybe coming from STEM prepared me for this, because that's another space where there are some of us, but not a ton of us. I very quickly knew what the landscape looked like
Right.
and what it would feel like, and really honestly how to go about navigating it. And it was, as always, to stay true to myself, tell the type of stories that, again, I personally, selfishly wanted to exist. And knowing that if I focused on that, I quite clearly there would be somebody else that would also be interested in that. So putting my head down really and working, because I was either going to be ignored or be ignored until I couldn't be anymore. I figured if I could be undeniable in my work, so focusing on that and letting that speak for me, even if people were not willing to actually listen to me, right? Something would come out of it. If anything, at the end of the day, the fact that I had an idea and I executed it and I made it a living thing that people can touch and read and get an understanding of myself and others that look like me. So I don't know, like, I just knew if I just put out so much work, after a while you wouldn't be able to ignore me even if you try. And quite clearly, all of the different genres that I've touched and the different publishers that I've worked for and done work with, I think that strategy has paid off, even though I didn't know if it would. If anything, I just knew that I was going to keep writing until I didn't have the opportunity to do so.
I love how intentional you've been with, like, your journey in general, even when it comes to your own creator-owned projects, then also work with, like, the big 2 and other publishers out there in general. And so, like I mentioned earlier, you have Living Heroes on our site. You have so many other publishers or so many other works as well on GlobalComix. With Living Heroes itself, that was the first one that you
Mhm.
made, and that was creator-owned. Now with Temporal itself, another
Yeah.
creator-owned, work. As you think of, other people who are out there doing their own work, like, what would be the advice you'd share with other people who are trying to break into this industry?
And, like, this isn't sexy advice, but, like, seriously, write the thing that only you can write. You do not have to be the next me. You don't have to be the next Frank Miller. You don't have to be the next whoever, right? You just need to be you. That is the uniqueness that you bring. Even if you feel like a story has been told a million times over, it hasn't been told by you. Therefore, it has not been told yet. There's going to be an audience for your work. You just have to believe that it is. Because unfortunately, you may have a really great idea, but you not sharing that with the world, that doesn't give us an opportunity to see how amazing that idea is and how amazing you yourself is as a creator. There's more than enough space, quite literally, right? There are books and comics, things that I've read that, maybe only 2 or 3 people read them, but they inspired me enough to want to do it. And I feel like, when you're in this space, the win is getting the thing done, accomplishing it. And even if one person reads it, like, that, literally, that is the win, because there's just so much out there. For somebody to take a moment to read something, look at something that you put so much work into, like, you've done a thing. So stay the course, tell your story, and be okay with failing. If you don't try, then there's no failure without trying. You can only get better by doing so.
You're dropping, honestly, like, words of wisdom, but also inspiration and motivation to anyone that's out there that's looking to do their own stories as well. Like you said, just keep trying, do your own story, and just be yourself. So I love all of that in general in this year and beyond. And in regard to your background, your experiences, all those different things. When you're writing Black women characters into heroic stories, complex stories, like, are there any specific things that you aim to provide or convey in your stories that will hopefully connect with the audience?
I just hope somebody feels seen, even if they don't see these, they don't feel seen fully, like pieces of themselves. I think back to, I really like Silver and Bronze Age comics, which superhero comics, especially, which is kind of like, girl, why? Because it's not a lot of you there. Well, that's because that is where I was able to, I see a hero, and even if they didn't look like me, I was able to connect to some part of them, find some type of relatability, right? And I apply that same thing or that same mindset in the stories that I write. So even if my characters do not look like you, that should not stop you from reading. Like, I am writing to Black women, Black girls, of course, and just to Black culture in general. However, there is still something there that you should be able to relate to, should feel seen in some kind of way, because that's what stories should be in general, right? Like, you should be able to see yourself in the journeys that these characters go on, even if they're they're villains or they're protagonists, antagonists, whatever. Like, there should be something there that reminds you of the human experience. For me, like, that's all I'm going for. I just hope that somebody, but more specifically a Black woman or a young Black girl, feels seen in the way that they haven't before. I want my books to be a source of comfort, even when they're there to scare you. I still want them to be something that, you can expect to come away feeling hopefully full, replenish you in some type of way, be it creativity or in bravery, in love, whatever, that you just walk away with your cup a little bit fuller than when you started reading.
This touches my heart. I definitely felt full when I was reading Living Heroes earlier. Even just seeing like the bonnets and like the way that you're speaking, I was like, obviously I'm Black, and
Yeah.
I work in this space as well. And it's nice to see just different types of people being represented in comics because the audience that's consuming this, we're all just as diverse as well.
Yeah.
And I just love to see how the comic industry is shaping and how it's evolving. And even with that, I then would ask my next question, which is how have you seen the comics industry just evolving these last, let's say, 5 years or so?
It has evolved a lot. I think that's what I want to choose to focus on, because quite clearly there's a long way to go. However, I would be remiss if I sat here and told you that there has not been any changes. Because if there hadn't, we wouldn't be talking right now, like, at all. You possibly wouldn't be where you are, and I wouldn't either, right? So there has been some forward momentum, even if it has been slow. There have been so many just other Black women, that just creatives, artists, letterers, colorists, that I have discovered over the last 5 years that maybe have been there the entire time, but because there are more individuals in this space who are actively looking for us. And even if it's just us looking for each other, that has been something that I've seen a rise in. And I love that. I really do. I love the fact that when I am at conventions, it's still sometimes a little hard to find us, but I'm finding, however, I'm counting more, I'm seeing more, and I love that. Whether someone is tabling at a convention, or a fan that I meet, or a reader, or just someone new to my work that, looks like me, that's been cool. And then the fact that, we're, again, like, this Eisner year has been insanely diverse. My co-writing partner on Nubia and the Amazons, Vida Ayala, is also nominated for an Eisner, which I think is, 5 years ago, that probably wasn't the case, right? But it is now. So it has definitely changed for the better. Got a long way to go, but the simple fact that there is movement forward, to me, like, let's focus on that, and let's do what we can to really push and make it even better.
Like you said, there's definitely a lot of changes in the industry. I mean, this last 5 years, last 10 years in general. And I had noticed, or at least I'm picking up on your intentionality on who you chose on your team itself, from like the letterer
Yeah.
to the artist and everything as well. Obviously, it's not up to just people like us to bring in diverse voices. It also comes down to, and I'm going to say us as Global Comics, but
Hmm.
publishers, distributors, everyone as well. How would you say publishers and platforms like GlobalComix can better elevate Black voices, diverse voices, whether it's Asian voices, et cetera, et cetera? Like, it's the whole gamut.
To, again, look beyond, right? It shouldn't just be something that your mind is triggered to do this because it's February, or it's May, or it's June, or it's September/October. These months that have been put put aside to celebrate certain cultures. Like, this is a year-round thing. If America is getting ready to turn 250, it looks the way it does for so many reasons that I need a lot of people to really be honest about and to make sure that they're carrying that with them on a daily basis in the decisions that they make, because it does not look one way. And for better or for worse, and if we're going to focus on the for better, then it means that we can get like a ton of stories, diverse stories that again are going to speak to the human experience across the spectrum. So do your due diligence. It really isn't that hard. You don't, the internet, both a gift and the curse, but at the same time, like, it makes the ability to reach out to folks that you probably would have never met in your bubble. So, like, use those resources, be willing to take risks, because we don't get new and exciting things without doing that. Cannot always play it safe. And sometimes safe, even if it is lucrative, is not always for the best. So just be willing to try and really put your money and your support behind initiatives that go beyond a month, a day. It should be a year-round commitment.
100% agree. And that's something that, our team is trying
Yeah.
to leverage and elevate as we move forward throughout the year and beyond as well. If you look at outside of the publisher space as well, the distributor space as well, what would you say are things that fans can do from their own side, where outside of obviously, reading and things like that, what are things that we can be doing? I know I watched another interview where you were talking on it and you mentioned like doing pre-orders, things like that. Like, what can we do as fans?
So pre-orders and really just kind of having a better understanding of the comic book landscape. Yes, that is going to require a little bit of work, but in the same way that you would go to the movie theater to see the movie that you're really excited for. If you're really excited for a comic book, then part of that is pre-ordering it and just being aware. And again, like, I understand that we're all online. We know what gets the clicks, what the algorithm loves, and a lot of times it is the negative stuff, right? If you could really be loud about the things that you are loving, the books and the creators that you want to see more of beyond just the characters, that will get you hopefully better results when it comes to seeing more of what it is that you would like to see the creators that you're fans of get more work. But really, it's a partnership. Same way that, as creators are showing up to give you the best stories possible, we need you guys to show up and support those stories by word of mouth, pre-orders, sharing your favorite panels, sharing an interview that your favorite creator was on, and like also making sure that everybody on the team is getting their credit. It's more than just the writer, it's more than just the artist, the colorist is there, the letterer, like, have nothing to read if it wasn't for them. So even our editors, so like, just a little bit more work. And I promise you the reward and the return on being a little bit more invested beyond the page will pay its dividends. But yeah, so sorry, it's a little bit of work, but I promise you it's worth it.
And that's okay. I think that everything that's worth it requires a little bit of work anyway. So what you said, the ways that people can be supporting beyond social media is, of course, doing the pre-orders, voting in any sort of awards, any sort
Yeah.
of nominations, and just even supporting artists like outside of those
Yes.
specific award series and seasons too. So there's so many things that people all around the world could be doing to support this amazing industry. And so I'm going to leave this more onto like a more general note, but what comics are you reading right now?
A book that I more recently read that I really enjoyed is called Super Predator. It's by R.J. Barnes. I am blanking on the artist's name, and I just got done fussing at y'all about making sure you remember everybody from the team, but please forgive me. The artwork is phenomenal. The lettering is phenomenal, but that's R.J. Barnes is the writer. But Super Predator, it's kind of like this fantastical world. There are monsters and there are bats and guns, and it's a fun time. I'm trying to think of think People Under the Stairs meets the vibe of Fast and the Furious, if that's correct. Maybe yeah. Anyway, go check that book out. Also, Amani by First Pen. I actually met the writer for the second time at Fan Expo Anaheim, but I think Amani, you might actually be able to read one GlobalComix if I'm not wrong. But definitely worth you checking out. And yeah, those are the two things that are coming to my mind.
I mean, I always welcome recommendations. So I literally just wrote it down on my screen as you said that. So appreciate those recommendations.
Yeah.
Now, as we've gone through the whole interview, I just want to see if there's anything else that you'd like to share as like closing comments, anything that you really want to impart to just everyone that's out there.
Just stay the course. It's only like it might seem like I might be an overnight success, but quite clearly we all know that's not the case. Sometimes it takes a longer, right? And that's okay. Please remember that when you're creating for yourself first. This is supposed to be your outlet. This is supposed to be your thing that you need to get out into the world. Everything else will fall into place. And yeah, if you are looking for more work from me, there are some announcements coming up that I am so excited about. Actually, just got the good news today. So just be on
Big
the
news.
lookout. Yeah, I wish that I could. If I will come back so that I can. But yeah, good things are on the way. And please check out Any Given Smile and learn how much I love football. And that is with IDW. It is set in the Smile universe. So I am really leaning into my horror.
Okay, well, you heard it here first, you guys. Are there any socials or websites or
Oh,
anything
yes.
that you'd love to share just so we can put your name out there and just let people see your work?
So whystuff.com, which I severely need to update. So that is my website. As far as socials, you can find me on Instagram and threads at Steph_I_Will. Just look for Stephanie Williams. Blue Sky, even though I haven't been on there in forever, but just search Steph Williams, and same thing for TikTok, search Stephanie Williams, but you're just going to find a bunch of memes on my page right now. So just go over
Lovely.
there and get some funds. Have some fun with those.
Thank you so much for just hopping on the call with us and yapping with me. I'm a yapper.
Yep, same.
Anyone will have her socials put down below as for everyone to see as well. But I've had a lot of fun, and I hope you had a great time chatting with us
I
too. We'd love to
did.
have you back in the future. So appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you. And just shout out to GlobalComix. It's been so good to see how much you all have grown over the years. It's been like really dope.
All right. Well, we are signing out here. Look for more from Stephanie and from Global Comics very, very soon, y'all. Peace
Yeah.
out.